Good. We meet today on the lands of the Gadigal and Murruwarra Dial peoples of the Eora Nation, and we pay our respects to elders past and present. We recognise the importance of addressing the injustices done against the Indonesian people of this land we are blessed to meet on today. And we meet here on this day to mark 60 years since the flying of the Morning Star flag with the Dutch handover in 1961 to the West Papuan people. And yet, 60 years later, and the people of West Papua are still not free from colonialism. Betrayed by the international community, the people of West Papua still struggle for their liberation from exploitation. Yes, the brave people of West Papua struggle against three key problems in their fight for liberation. These problems that foster their exploitation are imperialism, colonialism, and capitalism. Indeed, the Papuan people's struggle is a cause for liberation from these forces of exploitation. Antonio Tuan Jr. of the International League of People's Struggle said that it is important that we strengthen the narrative of the cause for the Western Papuan revolutionaries. That is not a simple breakaway from Indonesia. It should be a breakaway against US imperialism. And if you don't give that revolutionary education to the West Papuan people, then in the end, that independence will be for naught. Similarly, Javier Rosa, a Papuan women's activist, highlighted that the issue facing West Papua are interconnected. It is the colonialism and imperialism of the government in Jakarta, and it is the capitalist status of power with the concentration in the hands of the elite. She said that all policies by Jakarta are made to satisfy the needs and interests of the capitalists. It is this that leaves the majority of West Papuan people as an exploited underclass in their own homeland. Fellow West Papuan youth activist Septi Mdodja also said in relation to the pitfalls of colonialism and imperialism and exploitative capitalism for West Papua, when he said, "We hope that self-determination becomes a democratic solution for the West Papuan people to address economic, social and cultural problems so that foreign companies can no longer exploit natural resources and indigenous Papuans no longer become minorities. The Papuan people must free themselves from the economic, social and cultural problems that capitalist, imperialist exploitation has unleashed upon their homeland." In this vein, I leave you with the words of the ever-staunch Victor Yamo. This revolutionary and activist that nearly died of poor health under imprisonment by the Indonesian Special Forces, who is still recovering under armed guard, spoke on behalf of the Committee Nasional Papua Barat. And he said, "It is time for international solidarity to work together against oppression, imperialism and capitalism, which gave birth to Indonesian colonialism in West Papua. These are the common enemies of all people around the world. The KNPB strongly believes in the power of the people. Our enemy is oppression, not the people of Indonesia, and not those from different races. We stand here in solidarity with the people of West Papua. We stand here under this flag, and we recognise the right of all people to free themselves from exploitation, imperialism and capitalism. We recognise the need that we here, fighting in Australia, have a role, not just in fighting for our sisters, not just in fighting for our brothers and our comrades that are merely in trending struggles, but rather we have a duty and responsibility to turn our eyes to our own community and neighbours. The fight for the liberation in Australia cannot be won whilst our neighbours suffer under the hands of the state. We honour them and we stand in solidarity with them. Free West Papua! All power to the Papuan people! Papua America! Down with Indonesian imperialism! What nationalism does to people who are brainwashed, people who should be siding against exploitation in their own country. We stand with the Indonesian working class and we stand with the Papuan people. Papua America! Down with Indonesian imperialism!
As always, here we see a demonstration of Indonesian stooges set up by the Indonesian government to send its trying to conceal the international truth. And the international truth is that West Papua legally has never been part of Indonesia and cannot be. Indonesia, 1962, asked the United Nations to disabrogate West New Guinea. Now, the United Nations was under Indonesian influence at the time, and it's concealed the trusteeship agreement and the trusteeship resolution from the trusteeship council. Nonetheless, if people bother to check with the United Nations records, they will see that West Papua is a non-self-governing territory that is legally a United Nations Trust territory. Indonesia is in violation of international law, violation of the Article 76 of the United Nations Charter. It is violating the freely expressed wishes of the West Papuan people. And these stooges are an example of what the Indonesian government has been orchestrating on social media for the last 12 years. 2009, the TNO, the Indonesian military, began teaching Indonesian citizens how to use Facebook and other social media to spread its propaganda. And during the past 10 years, Facebook has had to remove tens of thousands of hoax Indonesian Facebook accounts and bots that are programmed. Just last year, the Indonesian military awarded an award to a colonel for his work in building bots on social media.
Stay away from amusement.
So that's the level of social manipulation that we're dealing with and have been for over 10 years.
Today, members from the Australian Communist Party and volunteers from the Community Union Defence League, as well as other supporters and activists for the West Papuan struggle here in Australia, mobilised out the front of the Indonesian consulate in Maroubra. We were met by a hostile crowd of Indonesia supporters, as was to be expected. Nevertheless, we endeavoured to speak up on the 60th anniversary of the first flying of the Morning Star flag and speak out against the continued injustices that both the Indonesian and Australian states continue to inflict against West Papuan people. We stand in solidarity with all activists who support this solidarity struggle across the world. We send our love, our hope, and our solidarity to the West Papuan people. Papua Merdeka, Free West Papua.